Watch this every day and watch your life transform. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect job, the right person, the breakthrough moment. But life doesn't change because you wait. Life changes when you change. True transformation doesn't happen in a single loud moment. It happens quietly, every day through repetition, awareness, and intentional choices. Watch this once and you'll feel inspired. Watch it daily and it will rewire you from the inside out. The truth is simple. The world around you cannot transform until you do. Every morning, you wake up with one quiet yet powerful decision. Repeat the past or rise into your future. That moment, just before the world rushes in, before you scroll, before you speak, is sacred. It's a clean slate, but most people squander it. They check messages before they check their breath, scroll before they sit, react before they reflect. Without realizing it, they aren't living, they're reliving. They aren't building, they're repeating. Every day looks like the last because they never pause long enough to break the cycle. Habits become autopilot, thoughts borrowed, and life turns into a slow echo of what's already been done. This is why most people stay stuck, not from lack of ambition, but from lack of ritual. They hope something changes, yet they ignore the first hour that determines everything. The gap between discipline and destruction is razor thin. One choice, one breath, 1 hour. That's all it takes to shift momentum. 1 hour of alignment before the chaos creates clarity that reroutes your entire direction. That clarity compounds slowly, silently, powerfully, not through dramatic explosions, but in the steady, invisible winds that build trust between who you are now and who you can become. When you dedicate that hour to yourself, not to ego, not to escape, but to alignment, you change the trajectory of your day. And when you change enough days, you change your life. You stop living in reaction and start living in creation. You stop following energy and start generating it. You stop giving your attention to the loudest voice in the room and feed the voice you choose, the energy you choose, the direction you choose. Transformation doesn't begin in emotion, it begins in structure. It begins in the repeatable decision to train your mind before the world claims it. This moment, this message, this breath, it cannot be a one-time spark. It must be a ritual, not when convenient, not when motivated, daily, relentlessly, with reverence. Repetition builds identity. Identity shapes behavior. You don't rise by willpower alone. You rise by programming, by deciding what enters your mind when it's most open, most impressionable. That's always in the morning. Before emails, before noise, before the world demands pieces of you. That's when you must decide who you are and remind yourself until it becomes real. To change your actions, don't start with behavior. Start with environment. Start with input. Start with what you consume when your defenses are down and your spirit is listening. Feed it strength, feed it purpose, feed it silence. In time, it will give you a new identity. One that doesn't try harder because weakness is no longer familiar. One that doesn't fear slipping because its standards have shifted. If you want to change your future, change what you repeat, not what you dream about, not what you talk about. What you do and what you do consistently becomes who you are. No matter how far off course you've been, no matter how many days you've wasted, you're always one morning away from reclaiming your path. Start now. Protect the hour that builds your future self. Not someday, not when you feel ready, now. Peace, confidence, focus, these are not accidents. They're earned, they're built, they're trained like muscle. And like muscle, they grow through resistance. Peace isn't found by hoping for less chaos. It's forged in inner silence, the kind you protect, fight for, and build boundaries around. Confidence isn't born. It's earned quietly by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say, I will do this, and follow through, you signal to your subconscious, I am someone I can count on. True confidence doesn't need applause. It shows in how you walk into a room, how you respond instead of react, how you lead with certainty, not noise. That certainty comes from trust. Trust comes from consistency. Focus is not gifted. It is trained. Motivation is fleeting. Environment is unpredictable. But discipline, rituals, and repeated choices, they are always within your control. Guard your mornings, train your mind, align your energy, and day by day, choice by choice, your life will rise with you. Every day, you cut the noise, again and again, until your mind begins to understand that you will no longer chase every distraction. You won't check every notification. You won't let your attention be hijacked by people who don't value it. You train your mind like a dog. You teach it to sit, stay, return. At first, it resists, it runs wild. But over time, it obeys, it settles. And from that stillness, your work deepens, your thoughts sharpen, your presence becomes undeniable. These are not talents, they are disciplines. And discipline doesn't show up when you feel good. It doesn't answer to emotion. It shows up every day in repetition, in structure. In the morning, you may not want to rise, but you do. In the evening, you may want to quit, but you push through. Discipline is not glamorous. It's quiet, steady, and powerful because it shapes a life no longer at the mercy of feelings. Every single day, you are being programmed, either by the world or by yourself. There is no neutral. Everything you consume, everything you scroll past, everything you watch, everything you listen to, it's writing code into your mind, shaping your focus, forming your self-worth, defining your thoughts. If you do nothing, if you let the world write that code, the world wins. Ads win, drama wins, gossip wins, noise becomes your soundtrack, and eventually, you don't even know what you truly want. You forget what peace feels like. But you can take it back. You can reclaim your mind, not in a day, not by accident, but through commitment. Every morning, choose input that sharpens you, that reminds you who you are, not what the world wants you to be. Choose clarity over chaos. Feed your mind with wisdom before the world fills it with noise. When you build this as a ritual, everything changes. You don't chase peace, you walk in it. You don't fake confidence, you radiate it. You don't beg for focus, you live from it. You create these states like a craftsman, a warrior, a person who knows the world may be loud, but he is louder inside. You weren't born to be overwhelmed. That constant fatigue, urgency, and chaos that so many wear like a second skin, it's not natural. It's a symptom of neglect. Your mind wasn't meant to chase 20 things at once. Your soul wasn't designed to be split across endless tabs and trivial decisions. Most people live scattered, exhausted, numb, not because they're weak, but because they forgot how to be still, how to listen, how to reclaim themselves. The fog, anxiety, pressure, these are results of letting the world program you before you program yourself. Slowly, you stop choosing yourself. You skip the morning stillness. You trade presence for performance. And over time, your inner structure begins to decay, not because something is wrong with you, but because anything neglected decays. Yet decay is not the end. It's a signal, an invitation to return. And the doorway is simple. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You need 5 minutes a day. No phone, no noise, just stillness, just breath. That's where the reconnection begins. Your spine straightens, not from ego, but from remembrance. Your thoughts quiet, not because life got easier, but because you stopped feeding the frenzy. Slowly, presence, clarity, and groundedness return. You remember, I am not my fear, I am not my failures, I am not the anxious voice in my head, I am the observer, I am the one who chooses how to respond. That realization is profound. It is the reset, the root of sovereignty, the beginning of real power. Because when you remember you have choice, the world loses its grip on you. You cannot control the chaos around you, but you can control how you meet it, how you hold your frame, how you speak, how you move, how you dedicate your first hour. These are not small wins, they are your anchors. Your rituals become your reminders that you are not lost. You are building even when no one sees. When you take this control back, when you live from presence instead of pressure, life shifts. Life respects you, not magically, not theatrically, but practically. You enter rooms differently, you speak differently, your energy precedes your words. Opportunities move toward you, not because you asked, but because you became someone ready to receive them. Trust is earned, not demanded, through your consistency, through your discipline. This is the power of return, the power of quiet structure, the power of showing up for yourself, not once, not when it's easy, but every single day. This is where strength lives. This is where clarity lives. This is where freedom begins. Every day, you cut the noise, again and again, until your mind begins to understand. You will no longer chase every distraction. You won't check every notification. You won't let your attention be hijacked by people who don't value it. You train your mind like a dog. You teach it to sit, stay, return. At first, it resists, it runs wild. But over time, it obeys, it settles, and from that stillness, your work deepens, your thoughts sharpen, your presence becomes undeniable. These are not talents, they are disciplines. Discipline doesn't show up when you feel good. It doesn't care about emotion. It shows up in repetition, in structure. In the morning, you may not want to rise, but you do. In the evening, you may want to quit, but you push through. Discipline shapes a life no longer at the mercy of feelings. Every day you are being programmed, either by the world or by yourself. There is no neutral. Everything you consume, scroll past or listen to writes code into your mind, shapes your focus, forms your self-worth, defines your thoughts. If you do nothing, if you let the world write that code, the world wins. Ads win, drama wins, noise wins, and eventually you don't even know what you truly want. You forget what peace feels like. But you can take it back. Not in a day, not by accident, but through commitment. Every morning, choose input that sharpens you, that reminds you who you are, not what the world wants you to be. Choose clarity over chaos. Feed your mind with wisdom before the world fills it with noise. When you make this a ritual, everything changes. You don't chase peace, you walk in it. You don't fake confidence, you radiate it. You don't beg for focus, you live from it. Presence is power, not loud, not aggressive, but unshakable. And here's the truth most people overlook. Life does not change when you understand something once. It changes when you remember it every single day. You don't evolve from one quote. You don't transform from one emotional video. Change is not an event. It's a wiring, a groove that deepens through repetition. That's why monks repeat mantras, why warriors drill the same movements, why musicians practice the same scale until their fingers don't think. Mastery is not built by inspiration. It's built by ritual. Wisdom not revisited becomes dust. Knowledge not reinforced becomes noise. If you want to change your life, don't chase more information. Choose one truth and burn it into your system through repetition. That's why your morning matters. That first window after waking, when your mind is open, when your body is listening, when your brain is most impressionable, that's when reprogramming happens. Most people waste it. They check notifications, scroll through images that trigger comparison, open floodgates of noise, and by breakfast, focus is gone, overwhelm has taken over. It's not the world's fault, it's the lack of structure, the lack of ritual. One message repeated daily is more powerful than 100 random inputs. Which message are you repeating? Is it intentional? Is it yours? Repeat this presence, this discipline, this mindset every morning, and your brain stops treating it like a motivational moment. It starts treating it like a command. You are no longer trying to be focused, you are focused. You no longer remind yourself to stay on track. You simply stop drifting because you trained yourself to return. You trained your mind to seek silence before stimulation, purpose before pleasure, clarity before action. From that place, behavior changes, not forced, but natural. Discipline becomes baseline, focus becomes habit, energy becomes respect. Repetition replaces randomness. Your nervous system grows familiar with peace. Your habits reinforce your identity. Your speech slows. Your reactions calm. Planning sharpens. You walk like someone who doesn't need direction because you've already chosen yours. This is freedom, not perfection, not the illusion of control, but the reality of choosing each next step, of noticing when energy leaks, of centering yourself before the world speaks. Freedom doesn't come from talent. It doesn't come from emotion. It comes from what you allow into your mind every day, what you listen to, what you read, what you meditate on. That becomes your internal voice, your compass, your edge. Live intentionally, build clarity, embody discipline, repeat until it becomes identity. The man who controls his inputs controls his direction. The man who controls his direction doesn't need motivation because he has become it. Repetition is how the brain learns to trust. Not once, not sometimes, every single day. Make this your alarm, not just on your phone, but for your mind. Let it be the soundtrack of your stillness. Let it shape your first thoughts, your first breath, your first decision. This is internal transformation, not by chasing 100 messages, but by choosing one and repeating it until it becomes part of your nervous system. Until your default is discipline, until your self-talk is quiet strength. You don't announce it, you live it. You walk into your day with structure while others scroll. You keep your word while others negotiate with feelings. You focus while others react. Slowly, your results change. Confidence becomes real. Energy becomes respected. You lead, not loudly, not for attention, but through presence. This is the new standard: quiet, committed, relentless. Every morning, every choice, every repetition builds the foundation of a life no longer at the mercy of chaos, distraction, or doubt. Repeat it, live it, train it, and watch your entire life begin to change, quietly, powerfully, completely.